Welcome back, hopefully welcome back, to another episode of Red on Air. I am your host, Mason Brown, joined today by the ever-energetic and lovely Hayden Daviau, who has been in a whole lot of wonderful stuff lately. I was making sure that I had a nice substantial list of stuff from your IMDb. People will know things like you were Priestess on Goblin Slayer or Fifth of Angels 3 on Fire Force, but you've also done a whole load of additional voices and things maybe people wouldn't notice right off the bat, like Fruits Basket or Steins Gate. But I'm very, very happy to have you, another friend on the show. Always great as usual. So yeah, how are you today? How's your day been?
Hello. My day's been good. Just drinking coffee and recording projects this morning, actually.
Oh, okay.
It's been pretty productive.
Very, very nice. It sounds a lot more productive than my morning this morning. So good on you for doing some projects. Well, if you're ready, we will jump right into the very first question.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so what made you interested in becoming a voice actor?
Well, I've always kind of done acting a little bit here and there throughout childhood. I started in theater, just like at school, and then I got involved in the theater program in high school, doing musical theater, doing like all different kinds of shows. We did Little Shop of Horrors, which was cool because that's my favorite musical, so that was really fun.
Nice.
Got to play my dream role in that, which was Chiffon, who's one of, like, I don't know if you've seen Little Shop of Horrors. It's like the three backup singers, like for basically like the Greek chorus for all the songs. Yeah, so it was my dream to be one of those girls for it. I never wanted to be Audrey. I wanted to be the ones with the good songs.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I started in musical theater, and then throughout middle school and high school, I got back into cartoons and anime and just kind of fell back in love with that medium. And I started watching Teen Titans again from like 2000, like the 2003 show. It's still my favorite. Man, I've been in Texas too long. I fall into them. I'm from Texas. I re-fell in love with that, and then I started watching anime. I was like, oh, seeing behind the scenes stuff. I was like, oh wait, voiceover is just kind of a whole different facet of acting. Well, I'm an actor. I enjoy doing this. So I just gave it a shot on my laptop mic, in my bedroom in high school, doing just little tiny indie projects that one of them still exists, and I'll never tell what it is. You'll never find it.
I think I know. Yeah, I think I might probably know what it is. I'll tell you off the air. Yeah, fair enough. We'll keep the... It's good, yeah.
But then I started taking classes in Vancouver, which is how we met, and then just kind of went from there. And I just fell in love with it. I started just going for bigger and bigger projects. Yeah. Out of high school, when I started college, I did Honey Pop, which was really cool. I played Kiana Del Rio, who's like my first lead role, like first actual game role, which was really cool. I still have people at conventions or just online come up to me and just say, hey, I love you as this character. I played the crap out of this game. I was like, that's insane. I did that like, so long ago now. It's been like 6 years, which is crazy. So yeah. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, well, no, that's great. I was just gonna say, you never know what kind of sticks with people. One of the lunches I was having with Sam Vincent one time, I think it might have been the first one actually, I made an offhand thing where I was like, yeah, something, all those Crypto the Superdog fans are gonna be coming up and clamoring for your autograph, and he was like, you know what, he's like, you'd be surprised how many people I get that are still fans of quote-unquote obscure things like that. So yeah. No, that's awesome. I will have to, because I did the same thing in the last interview, but you brought up a specific thing, so I will have to ask you, favorite character from Teen Titans?
Raven. She's my favorite. She's been my favorite since day one. She's best girl.
She is best girl. We're on the same level with that one. I also really like Cyborg.
Oh.
Loved Beast Boy as a kid because he's like the quote-unquote kid appeal character.
Oh, I still love Beast Boy.
Oh, I love him too, but I think, yeah, my love for Raven and Cyborg has shifted more and more to the forefront of my appreciation of Teen Titans as the years has gone on.
Oh, yeah.
That's a perfectly excellent answer to number one, so we will go ahead with number two. What is a project or franchise that you would like to be on?
Ooh, man, a part of me, I'm like, I don't want to jinx myself, but every actor wants to be in it right now. I'd love to try my hand at My Hero Academia. I love the show. I'm a big fan of the show. I think it's really unique, and there's a reason that it's so popular right now. I'd love to do something Marvel or DC. I love comic books, anything like that. Not technically voiceover wise. I spend a lot of time playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I would love to somehow get involved with Critical Role.
I knew it had to be one of two. It had to be Critical Role or is it Adventure Zone is the other one?
Yeah, Adventure Zone's the other one.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to Adventure Zone, but I love the format of Critical Role, and it reignited my love of role-playing games and tabletop, and now I have hordes of dice, and I play like 3 times a week, and so. I
think that totally makes sense, and funny that you said My Hero, because my girlfriend Lauren, for the listeners, has been watching all of My Hero within the past couple days, and I wanted to watch from season 4 because our mutual friend, Mr. Kellen Goff, who I would love to have on the show, was the voice of Overhaul in the dub, and he's a lovely man, and I also know that he did stuff for Fire Force as well, so that's kind of another 6 degrees of separation, but that totally makes sense that My Hero is a big one. I think most people are pretty like, yeah, Marvel or DC, that's a really easy, that's an easy in to kind of really being recognized. And then Critical Role, you nailed it with the comment about the format, because I can't really think off the top of my head much other stuff that's like a fantasy-based role-play thing like that is all big professional voice actors.
Yeah, and it's not even that like they're professional voice actors. I love Matt's storytelling style and just the way he engages you. And I'm like, okay, you're describing this and I can see it in my mind's eye. And it's very theater. So that's kind of what I love about RPGs and stuff like that. And that goes back to voiceover. I'd love to work on an RPG of some kind, whether it's like an MMO or it's like an anime style RPG. Like we've had like Trials of Mana, stuff like that. I'd love to get involved in a game like that. I just think they're so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would happily have Matt Mercer engage me. He's a handsome man. He is. He's a talented, handsome man.
He has amazing hair.
He's got great hair. And I don't particularly care for like sort of that shoulder length hair at times on dudes, but he's a handsome man.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so number 3, we're burning through these questions. I love it. What is something you wish you could have told your past self or people starting out? Something about voiceover.
Oh man, tell my past self.
Yeah, a little nugget of knowledge.
Oh, there's a lot that I would tell little Hayden. Little Hayden went through a lot. I'd say use your imagination, continue to use your imagination, because all of what we do is we're playing pretend. So I'd say keep playing pretend, because, you know, what we do is literally what we used to do out in the backyard. It's, you know, instead of running around playing with sticks, like pretending you're like Luke Skywalker or something, or, you know, I would, like, going back to Teen Titans, I would always be like, no, I want to play Teen Titans today. I'm going to be Raven, Azarath, Metreon, Zinthos, let's go. I would tell myself to keep playing pretend. Don't listen to the people who tell you this isn't a viable path, because all throughout high school, all throughout, you know, even a little bit in college, like when I first started, it was, yeah, voice acting's not real acting. Blah, 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 blah. You know, all the usual. It's like, why don't you become a real actor? It's like, okay. Yeah. Sure, random woman A in my high school homeroom class. Sure.
Yeah.
But it's just you do you boo kind of things. But if I could give a nugget of knowledge, just be open and willing to learn. Be always willing to learn. Take constructive criticism, because there is a difference. Some people think they're being constructive. It's like, you're not helping here. This is just hurting. But be open and willing to learn, because a lot of us as humans, we get stuck in our head. We get stuck in our ways. And I think it's important to be willing to hear other people just in life. Yeah. And that translates to us as actors, is just be open. Don't put up your walls. You know, let the walls come down a little bit. Listen. And then take that and do what you will.
You're giving me chills over here. I'm getting chicken skin from your. That was gorgeous. I love that. No, I don't really think I can add much to that on my end. Exactly what you said. Just echoing what you said. Get comfortable with yourself and be open to play.
Yeah.
You're gonna enjoy a lot more of your time if you're willing to play or breathe and relax.
Yeah, and trust yourself. Because I have that issue so much. Like, just in life or as an actor, it's like, am I doing the right thing? We all overthink our auditions or our reads sometimes. Like, doesn't matter. It's like, oh, shoot, you do an audition, you lay down in bed or whatever, or you come home from an audition, you go, oh, man, I could have read that so different. I could have done this different. Oh, my God. Yep. Blah, blah, blah. And it's hard to trust yourself sometimes because this is a very nerve-wracking career sometimes. It's like, oh, man, I'm not booking. I haven't booked in a while, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, trust yourself. Trust the process. You got this. You've gotten this far for a reason. You can do this.
Yeah, we're always going to be our own biggest critic at the end of the day. Something that I learned kind of with what you said there about overanalyzing, your auditions or your reads or whatever. One of the most helpful things that I would love to pass on to people, this is a thing that has helped me get through so many auditions that I thought I botched, and then I ended up, even if I didn't get it, I ended up getting a callback or whatever it is. Once you have done an audition for a thing, put it in your brain that you didn't get it.
Yep.
And then just move on. And then if you get a callback, exact same thing. Go back, do your callback, pretend like you didn't get it, move on. And you just keep doing that until you book something.
Yep, just one and done.
You gotta learn how to deal with rejection.
Yeah. It's the name of the game.
Rejection is a huge part of any form of acting. So you gotta get comfortable with being rejected. And that's also a helpful little tool for life, is learning how to handle rejection really healthily.
A big part, it's like, even if you didn't get the role, it doesn't mean you didn't get the role. You didn't get the part. It doesn't mean you didn't understand that character. It just means they went a different direction. But what you can take out of any audition is you were still heard. If you weren't cast, it's not a reflection on you as a person, which is really hard, especially when you're new. You're like, oh my God, I'm terrible. I'm the worst ever. I didn't book it. But the thing is, you were still heard. You don't know what their reaction was when they heard your audition. You don't know. That's why you just gotta set and forget. Set and forget,
I like that. Yeah, a lot of people just don't realize, a lot of it can just boil down to how you look. And you can only do so much about how you look. So don't sweat it. Don't sweat the small details. You got your foot in your door at that point, and you just keep coming back until you land the thing. That's all you can do.
Sometimes it'll take a while for you to book. I have a really good friend of mine, Jonah Scott, who's amazing. Like, he's such a wonderful, prolific actor, and I look up to him so much. I've known him for almost a decade, which is insane. He was in Los Angeles for like 3 years, and he didn't book anything. And then there just came a time where he submitted again, like last year, and now he is booking out the wazoo. He's Legacy and B-Stars. He's in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Like, he is just booking now. And that's the thing, is sometimes it takes time. You just gotta keep putting bugs in people's ears, and eventually they hear you.
Keep on keeping on. We'll move on to number 4.
Yeah, let's do it.
Which is, what's a question that you would want to be asked, or something you wish people inquired about voiceover more often?
Ooh, that's a really good question. That.
Yeah, this is always the one that gets people, is number 4.
Oh man, I really haven't thought about that. I'd say, instead of asking, how do I become a voice actor? For me, I love telling booth stories. I would love if more people would ask, what is it like in the booth? What's the experience like in a recording booth? Because right there can color how a new actor will behave going into a studio. It's like, what's it like when you're in the recording studio? Well, you go in, you say hi, greet your engineer. Always greet your engineer, because they are the ones essentially directing this session. You have your director there. They're there to help guide you as an actor. The engineer is the one really putting all this together. They are the lifeblood of any video game you hear, any TV show you hear. If you don't have good engineers behind you, it could fall apart very, very quickly. You greet your engineer, you sign in, you are polite, leave your ego at the gosh dang door. Because no matter how good you think you are, you could be kicked out just as quick. So go in, be polite, be genuine, do your job, say hi, say goodbye, get out. That's it. That's the question I want people to ask is, how does a recording session work? You know, what's the flow? Every studio is different for dubbing.
Yeah.
I've dubbed at Azure Productions in Vancouver, who I love. I love them. I worked with them for like 3 years and I miss them every day. Like, there's just a wonderful group of people. And I've worked at Funimation Entertainment in Dallas. Two very different dubbing styles. It goes back to being open and being willing to kind of jump through hoops a little bit, because that's what we do as actors and voice actors. I want to teach people good booth etiquette, because the amount of times I've heard about new actors who've gone in very cocky, it doesn't end well, and I want to make sure that everyone has a good shot, and everyone in that room, everyone should be having a good experience. So if the actor comes in open and willing to play and work with the other people in the room, it's going to make for a better and smoother recording session.
I think that perfectly, your whole idea of being open as an actor works perfectly with, what we were just talking about with number 3, taking criticism. One thing that I really think is important is taking direction well from the director. Is just, if you make a mistake, move on. But, parking your ego at the door, leave it there, come in, say hi to your engineer. All really excellent practices. You should do a similar thing when you're doing live action auditions. I've done so many live action auditions for things, from the smallest, nonsense cereal commercial till stuff for big superhero TV shows here in Vancouver. I've done the variety. One of the smartest things you can do is, when you walk into a room, you look every single person in the eye, you say hello, you listen, you do your part, you go to leave, you look at everybody in the eye again, you say thank you to as many of those people as you can as you're walking out, and that is such a helpful little tip that costs nothing extra. You're gonna get a lot more experiences and open doors put in front of you if you just be genuine, be yourself.
Honestly, it's just be kind, but not overly so. That makes sense.
Don't for a better lack of terms, don't be a suck up.
Don't be kissing no booties.
don't be brown nosing.
Nah, no brown nosing.
No, that's totally makes sense. Just, it's all about being genuine and kind and taking good direction. Your thing about sort of the initial part of the question of how do I become a voice actor and that thing. One of the weirdest sort of tried and true things that I've found, having gone to so many conventions and listened to so many recordings from panels and whatnot, one of the things that they always get asked is, how do you become a voice actor? And one of the quickest answers is, well, I knew somebody in the industry. And that also is a big part of it. I didn't start doing any professional recordings until my girlfriend had a friend that worked at a voiceover studio, and I auditioned, and then I did a project for them, which hopefully will come out soon. Still waiting on it. You never know.
Yeah.
Do not hold contempt for the idea that, yes, a large chunk of it might just be, it really depends on the people who you know within the industry to help you move forward.
Yeah, it's who you know. Honestly, because all us voice actors, we all talk to each other. We all talk.
Know each other.
We all talk. So if you do something right, we're going to be like, "Oh my god, you hear this person? They're so amazing," or they did this really sweet thing. But if you do something wrong, we're all going to talk about it because we're actors.
Absolutely.
And that's what we do.
Yep.
Like what happened with you is at Funimation, my boyfriend was an actor there, but we kind of made an agreement. We made an agreement that he wasn't going to recommend me for certain things, because it's then it's your person recommending you, and that's a little because there's certain times where it's okay to do that and certain times where it's everyone at Funny knew that we were dating and had been for a while, so we're that's gonna be a little suspect. It would have hurt my chances ultimately, but I became friends with the lovely and sweet and talented, and I miss her so much, Tia Ballard, who people might know for Happy and Fairy Tale. She's in Rosario Vampire. She's a director at Funny. She's amazing and lovely and wonderful, and one day because I post like comic dubs every once in a while on Twitter and YouTube and stuff like that.
Right.
And she hit me up. She's like, hey, I know you're an actor. You're coming into town to visit in June. Do you want to come in for like an impromptu audition? I have some sides and we'll have you do an audition and then we'll throw you in the system. And I was like, oh, shoot. Okay, sure. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Tia. And so she auditioned me. She liked my stuff. And then I went back to Canada. You know, I couldn't work yet in the States. And I was like, okay, cool.
Right.
Well, that was dope. Great. Thanks, Tia. She has been such a cheerleader, and I'm so grateful for Tia Ballard in my life. I love her. I will cheer her on forever. And I fully moved to Texas, and I submitted my demos, submitted my stuff, didn't hear anything, and then I got cast in a game. So I was like, well, I got cast in this. I'm gonna send them an update email. Here's my updated stuff. Here's my updated headshots. And then I got called in for a Walla session. I was like, oh, cool. Jade Saxton called me in. Awesome. And then I walk into the booth and it's Tia. She's the one who had recommended me and called me in.
Awesome.
Because she saw my email. And from there, it just started building and building. And it's the same thing. It's who you know. It's such a weird, crazy ripple of events. Alejandro was cast in one of Tia's shows that she was directing at Funimation. They became friends. I sat in on a couple sessions with Tia and Alejandro while she was directing him. Tia and I got to know each other. Tia listened to my stuff, and then it just kind of snowballed. So if they hadn't become friends, she wouldn't have known I existed. And it just kind of, it's this crazy snowball of events, and I have so much, like, I wouldn't say I owe her so much, but I'm so grateful to this crazy snowball of events that led me to where I am, because like 6 months later, I got the audition for Goblin Slayer. And that just snowballed my career.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know where it's going to lead you.
Yeah.
So be patient, my loves. Be patient and trust.
Yeah.
Just trust.
I think that's brilliant. Well, we are now on to our final question for the interview. And this, as I've said in the previous interviews, is the roulette question. So we will do our random generated number. And oh gosh, it only went up 1. So number 2
Okay.
of our 10 possible questions is, what is a misconception you had about voiceover when you started?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, that it was easy. I spent a lot of time listening and watching like voice actor panels, like the anime nerd that I am at heart. I spent a lot of time like watching voice actor panels. You hear them talking like, oh, they make it sound so easy. Yeah. So I went into like voice acting classes, and I will say I had a little bit of an ego. And this is where I learned to leave your gosh dang ego at the door. You know, it's like, oh, well, I've done this for a while. I've done some projects. I know what I'm doing. So misconception is that I thought it was a lot easier than it was, because I'd been doing theater and I was so used to being able to use my body and my face to express things. And I'm like, oh, wait. Oh, no. I have none of that. And being from theater, I was like, oh, I feel a little stranded because I can't have that little smirk, that little, you know, that little moment to portray something. I have to portray all of that with my voice. And how I say things, how I choose to portray this moment. It provided the shift I needed to grow as an actor instead of being like, well, I know what I'm doing. I've done theater, I've done acting. Yeah, you've done a different form of acting. Acting, much like the cartoons and the shows we work on or the projects we work on, it's a medium. So, and I needed that little kick in the butt. Where it's like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, it's time to learn.
Yeah, and that is, I would say, one of the most common misconceptions that people have. And unfortunately, it's a little bit of this thing that I, will see perpetuated by sort of full-time on-screen actors is when they go to do a voiceover role, because they're so proficient at one form of acting. They'll go in and they'll be like, oh, well, it was easy. I went in my pajamas and I did some recordings and then I made a big fat stack of cash. And it's like, well, that's great that the process for you as an individual was not as strenuous or tedious as it might be for other people. But that's not really the idea that you should be putting forward with any form of acting. That would be like if, I'm doing voice acting and I look at someone on Broadway and I go, oh, well, you know what? I do lots of silly voices and maybe I have to scream for 4 hours at a time in an audition. So I probably could do the same amount of singing that they do in a Broadway production. Those things aren't copacetic is the word I'm thinking of.
They're not they don't line the same thing. Yeah. And I'm like, I started in musical theater. I still sing. Mm-hmm. I look at those Broadway shows. I'm like, nope, I'd need to train so hard to be able to do what they do. I have so much respect. Yeah. I love theater. I love musical theater. I love going to Broadway shows. I've seen, nerd moment, I've seen the Percy Jackson musical 3 times. Probably going on 4 if they tour again. Haha, because support the show. Anyways.
I didn't even know there was a Percy Jackson musical, so you're far ahead with me on that.
Look it up on Spotify. It's amazing.
Okay.
It's real good. But right where I am right now, in my career, in my training, I was like, no, I'd need to go back to dance classes. I would need to go back to singing classes and training and train my body in a whole different way than I have for voiceover specifically, or on-screen stuff, because it's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big misconception. It's
is.
well, if I can do this, I can do this. Yes, you could. But you have to be open and willing to change your approach a little bit, because going in with a certain mindset, it's like, well, you're setting yourself up to fail or stumble along the way if you weren't ready to tackle it and be open to the fact that it's not the same as what you've been doing, if that makes sense.
No, that totally makes sense. Boiling it down to flexibility.
Yeah.
Flexibility
is
kind of the word that comes to mind.
That is the word.
Be, like you said earlier, be willing to play, and like I said earlier, be willing to take direction, and just you don't know everything.
Yeah.
You don't.
You don't know everything. No matter how much you learn, you will always have someone teach you something. And that is just a life lesson right there that we all learn every day. It's like, just be willing to learn. It's not, hey, I've learned all these things. I'd like to get off this learning train now. No, you're on that train forever. Forever. You're going to learn something new every day.
Absolutely. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Hayden, I think that's a perfect closing point. I would like to give you the opportunity right now to shout out any projects that whatever you want to get out there, tell us about it right now.
Oh man, well, right now, since we're still stuck inside, I think right now is the perfect time to watch anime. What better show to watch during all this craziness than The Helpful Fox Senko-san? I will push this show forever. It's one of my favorite shows I've ever worked on. I played Yasuko Koenji, who is a college student, but she's also a manga artist, and she's just she's just a weeaboo, but she's so fun and lovable. I love that show. That show, it's like a warm hug. It's, weighted blankets. It's like being wrapped in a weighted blanket, drinking like your favorite drink, like hot cocoa or coffee or something it's just happiness. It's about this man in his, I think he's like 29, 30, somewhere around there, Nakano, who's going through it. He's unhappy at his job. He doesn't have time to feed himself properly, and he's just down in the dumps all the time, just super depressed. And this fox spirit, Senko, comes down from the spirit world into his life to help look after him and help him kind of get back on his feet and kind of find peace within himself. And it's so sweet and cute, and it's honestly such a great lesson in self-care and letting other people look after you and being open to help. And it's just a really sweet show. I saw the cover art, and when I went in for the audition at Funimation, sorry, I always say funny. When I went in for the audition, I was like, oh, is this gonna be one of those Fox Girl shows where it's kind of lewd? No, it is next to Goblin Slayer. It's my favorite show I've ever worked on.
Very wholesome.
It's just wholesome, wonderful show, and I think right now it's what we need. So go watch The Helpful Fox Senko-san. You can watch it on Funimation's website or their app, anything like that, or support it, buy the DVD. I need to get myself the DVD. What else? You can follow me over on Twitter, twitter.com/HeyBaleVoice. I'm also on Twitch from time to time, twitch.tv/Hayden Daviau. Yeah, that's kind of it. I don't really have any projects coming out just because stuck in quarantine.
Yeah.
But outside
I think those
of that,
are perfect, yeah.
Yeah, you can follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/Hayden Daviau VO. I do a lot of Percy Jackson content, so if you're into Percy Jackson and the Olympians, I'm working on some audio drama projects. I have some episodes coming out, so, subscribe, ring the little bell icon. And that's kind of it. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. Hey Bale Voice.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Mason.
I'm absolutely delighted to have had you on. Thank you for taking the time to do that. It means a lot. And yeah, I just want to say to everybody listening, as usual, make sure you guys are staying happy and healthy. Go watch the cute Fox Weeb anime.
Do it.
Do it right now.
You should do it.
We should do it. It was so funny. I was actually going to put that in the list of stuff that you were in the beginning part, and I was like, no, she'll probably mention it. I know she will.
It's me. Of course I will.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, guys, stay happy, stay healthy, and we are off air.